Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is Captain Sweep, and we're here with the Inflow Matrix Operating System Synergy team with Captain Nova, First Officer Jorge, and Science Officer Captain Sweep. And so this is our second meeting, together, and probably fourth or fifth overall, with me and Nova starting.
Sounds about right.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello. Glad to be here. Well, so last week we were talking about, I want to ask if anybody has anything they want to share from their week, like how has it been in your week? Yeah, like since the last thing that we talked about, any experiments, any research that you've been, how has this week been for you?
Yeah, I'll go first. Hello, my name is Nova. I'm checking in, feeling pretty grounded and calm and focused. This last week or a few days at least for me has been pivotal, I would say, in a way. As you both know, I've been reading and studying and contemplating a lot about being successful and what that means to me. And throughout the process, I've learned and accepted that the primary having a primary goal, whether it's for the rest of my life or immediate, is extremely important and is kind of the driving force behind a lot of the strategy that I've been reading about. So I've spent the last few days kind of considering that, and I've come to the conclusion that for this time in my life, and this year specifically, my definite major purpose is to earn and receive $108,000 by or before December 21st, 2023. And so that is becoming a primary focus for me right now, and I'm kind of working to create some plans around that now. And that's sort of been a big piece of my week. Also, my foot is healing more and more. I walked, maybe 1 kilometer a few days ago, and that's the first time I've pretty much walked more than 100 feet in the last year, or well, not in the last year, but this year, sorry. Yeah, so that's really good. I'm slowly getting back to being able to work on my health more, like my physical health, because I've been laying on a couch for a while. So yeah, that's me. Yeah, perfect time to be interrupted. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Nova.
I'll wait till he gets back. Where are you?
I'm at a library in Souk right now. Mm-hmm.
You can rent rooms there?
You can pretty much book it. I just come here and say, can I have a meeting room for 2 to 3? They check on the schedule and they say, yeah, I'm here. I have this like whiteboard, a TV.
Nice room.
Yeah, it's nice. Another table. It's a bit misused right now because it's just me and there is actually a few tables.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's good to have that type of soundproofing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can also like speak a bit louder here and it's okay. Like there is soundproof.
So what about the meeting? How did you feel after the meeting on Saturday?
It was the meeting from the ground down and up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge learning experience for me. There was some pain or sadness about not being able to do the experiment that I wanted to do, and it carried on with others speaking. And yeah, like I'm seeing this part of myself, like I feel that I don't know how to interrupt, or that I don't find that gap to interrupt, or not just to interrupt, but to connect that thing with, like, put a pause in the space and like go on into the experiment.
Yeah.
So it was a huge, yeah, huge. And I also, the other biggest learning was this finding the emotional doorways when people are expressing something and there is an emotion behind it, and that is the moment to pause and to bring it out to, like, okay, what is the feeling there? Um, uh, to For me to have the distinction, because it's a space of feeling to me. Like, this is a like that space is for feeling, and there is a distinction between feeling an emotion and feeling a feeling. And yeah, like when you're feeling an emotion, then you'll be acting from something in the past. And then if you're acting from something in the past, then you're recreating the past, kind of like what you have about, are you a pattern, are you a presence, are you in presence, or are you a pattern? So an emotion will be being a pattern when something happened in the past and you're just repeating that. And feelings are more like the presence, when you're in the present and you get a feeling about the moment, and then you use that to express it. And those ones we do want to navigate the space of here and now. But if you're being a pattern and you're just carrying on being a pattern in the space, then you have this thing. I have this thing that is called a purple card. Then like everyone in the team will have one, and then you pull out a purple card, and then you say, like, are you, like, you're having an emotional reaction right now, something like that. And
Okay.
then, like, if multiple people in the team take it out, there's like a communication tool that if you have an emotion or you're in a pattern, there is a healing process that is pending there. Like, what is the healing process? What is the doorway? Yeah. In some meetings we'll just be like taking this out and like taking it out. We wouldn't be able to move so much.
Do you want to continue with what happened for the week for you, and then I'll take my turn after?
Yeah, and yeah, like this is part of it. What you asked in this question about, like, how was the meeting? It was so enlivening, and I was just in a liquid state, like, for pretty much the rest of the day, of like this, like, wow, there was like people came, and like the people that I wanted to be there, they came, and also there were other people that I wanted to invite that I didn't invite, and that I'm seeing like this, like yeah, this possibility to continue that space, with like weaving the village and weaving more people. And there's been a bit of transition, yeah, with the space where I was at, and like we're collaborating this week. Yesterday we had a meeting with a family that we might be creating an experiment with them for a month to 3 months of living together, sharing co-parenting, sharing responsibilities of the house, like doing sharing, like cleaning and the financial part. And it's gonna be an experiment. And we just had a meeting with them yesterday, and it's quite edgy and quite amazing and exciting, and also a bit scary.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I'm all in for that. And in the meantime, we're yeah, also like looking for a more permanent home. So yeah, my partner had a meeting with somebody that's helping out that process of finding a stable home.
Awesome. You're done?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to, before I go into my own thing, I'd just like to maybe address something you just brought up in terms of, as a facilitator, how do you get done what you need to get done within your time allotment, right? So it's like looking at, I just show this map with you. And this map is an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. Right, and it's divided by 12. So this is either a 5-minute segment, a 10-minute segment, or a 15-minute segment. And it has the built-in 7-step process. It's built in here. The start, the setup, the build up, the crescendo, the ease out, connect, unify, and finish, right? So what that is a structure for a session. So your crescendo right here might be that experience you wanted to give them. And what you started with, the experience you gave us, could have been at the setup. The welcoming is when they come in the door and you get people ready to do what you want them to do, right? They're coming in, they got to talk, they do an introduction, they whatever it is, right? You got to take them from the outside to your space, right?
Everyone.
Right back.
Sorry about that. No, it just seems to be something I'm misunderstanding in the booking of the space. And I think they're asking me to move. Because
They double booked.
something like that. Yeah.
Who else has the space? Can you share it with them?
They're gonna have like some sort of program here, so I don't know.
Oh, so you're the odd man out.
Ah,
Can you find a quiet place in the library or another room?
yeah, I'm gonna move.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know if you like to pause it or
Yeah.
just keep it going.
I guess. Our cat caught a bird, and there was a bird in the house, and I had to get rid of it.
Right.
Still alive, hopefully.
You guys.
Well, we kind of talked, well, actually, I just sort of explained the idea of taking the lunar schedule. And then each one of those blocks is 3 hours. And then that map that I just showed you is a way of breaking 3 hours down. And so then you're looking at, you know, that's a very concise way of looking at your whole lunar schedule and then looking at what you want to do. And then like within that 3 hours, or let's say 2 hours for us, where every one of these spokes is a 10-minute spoke, right? And so you're going, what happens? You're just giving, you know, you can break it down to the combo type and value and concept if you want, but you start with your content, like you're going.
Is free.
Yeah.
Did you gotta move again?
No, but she was telling me that there is another room that's free. I'm like, I'm in the middle of a meeting.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm okay here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're looking at your cut, like, let's say to me, what I heard is you did 2 exercises and the rest was the guys talking, right? So usually you want talking after they've experienced something to share what they experienced. So if you start out, hello, everyone comes in, da, da, da. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. You go straight into your presence exercise, then you debrief that. And then you, if you want them to talk, give them a topic to talk. If you don't want them to talk, take them right into the next exercise. And then have your, after that, have your debriefing or whatever, let people talk. And then at your last thing, you could have a next step of next week, we're going to do this. And these are the things you've written in. And then as a facilitator, you're just guiding, you got the clock, you got the people, you're giving them, I gave them 10 minutes to do the debriefing. Okay, we're moving. And at the beginning, you can give them the agenda, right? You can just send it to them and say, this is what we're doing. And then you get buy-in from everybody. So that's just the way that you as a facilitator, you get very specific getting through what you want to get through.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
now,
that resonates.
I'll switch over to my week. Because like you guys, I had the week was huge in terms of, it's the water rabbit year, which is why I was born. It's the shifting of the planets all went forward. My roommate left, and so now I'm in a suite and I have the full basement energetically. And I just set up, like just having that set up. I've never had that set up beside me. So it's like getting the tools set up in such a way that now I'm going to start to use them. And it's just, again, like it feels like the configuration is like a new kind of, and I think we're all stepping up to the next higher level. And there's an exercise that I think I sent to you. I'm not sure, but it's around making this map, the magical manifestation map, where you identify what you want per time cycle, and then you add a value in. And I put it like a shrine beside my bed. It means basically you're just saying, this is what I want, and you're identifying it. And then you do a reading with your values. I don't know if you guys want to do it right now. You want to do it right now?
No. No, I don't personally right now myself.
Okay. Because it's just,
but I may take you up on
it's
that.
highly
I may take
leveraged.
you up on that.
It is highly leveraged in terms of, you know, I've never done anything like I had someone do it once, and then the next year everything came true. And then that was the first student I said, she goes, I wanted to learn what's behind this. So anyway, so I did that on the new moon. And since then, it's again, it's just like everywhere I turn is like pure creativity everywhere. And like there's such a good state of empowerment.
You constructed your external environment to match your goals, is what it
Both
sounds like.
did a big upgrade, and now everything's just
Awesome.
everything's just tickety boo. So
Can I ask a logistics question about all that?
what's that?
Can I ask a logistics question about
Sure.
all of that?
Sure.
I just want to say first, even before you said that, I was noticing behind you and beside you and stuff, it really does look like you have like the dreamed environment for what you're doing right now. That just you're sitting in it right now. It looks amazing. Just the pieces that I've just saw there, and also the picture that you sent before of having the 4 chairs around the circle table and stuff. The tech setup is awesome too. Wow. Yeah. So I guess my logistics question is, can you afford it financially right now? Are you secure financially to be able to pay for that place and keep it for the next 6 months, something like that?
This is as a part of my exchange for being here. You know, I figure, like in my mind, if I came to your house and I was setting up these tools for your building or your business, I would be charging at least $10,000 a month. At least.
Okay, but so yes.
Plus they would give me a place to eat, plus they would be giving me food. That's okay. I haven't proved myself to do that right now, but that's my next step. My next step is going to that level in terms of this stuff is so fucking good. I mean, this is just, I think this is the best information system on the planet. There's not one better. And it's just, I have to implement it. I have to, sorry?
Like, I don't understand what you're saying. I guess actually, what situation are you trading for here? What are you doing? Where are you? Are you living in someone else's house and this is a room they're giving you to pay rent?
I'm in Yorkton, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
I'm at a
building. But you said you were providing a service
called the Visionary Hub that is going to be the Saskatchewan licensed distributor for the new Paradigm Toolkit. They bought 20 card sets. I'm in the middle of writing the manual, so to complete the product, we're working on numerous media things. You know, I'm teaching them weekly the tools, and
I did not know any of that.
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of news for me too. Or like I knew part of it, but I didn't know the exchange.
And there's 2 ladies here that they're completely committed to. They got big visions for Saskatchewan. They got big. They want to be kind of like the human resources department for the big companies. Like they want to, there's, you know, it's a slow osmosis, but they know the value of the card sets. We got the synergy map painted on their wall with their value system, with the next level of information beneath it. So 7 paths, the 7 paths, 5 spaces on the wall. So the operating system, the primary models that they break into are actually on a wall that's behind the table, and they have one of the only, they call it the hub factor, but it's a table they only have, a prototype of mine on the table beneath this system. So it's the beginning of using the tools within the office to conduct your business. And the whole system, like the system is showing itself as the, like, just like this, like it's a time structure. And then you take what they want to do. She wants the Enneagram. She likes to teach the Enneagram as a profiling system. She's creating a money system called Discover, like it's changed to Money Momentum. She's been a financial services coach for the last, not coach, she provided financial services for the last 25 years. She had her own business. She's very successful in Yorkton. She's
Is this Lori?
This is Laura.
Ah, yes.
So she wanted to switch to the people aspect, but she hasn't quite finished structuring that course. And so part of what I suggest is to help using what I have as a framework to deliver what she has. Because I essentially have the media savvy, I have the structuring savvy, like I have a lot I can offer anyone who's got knowledge, right? Who hasn't put it together yet. I can come in, do everything to get them ready.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. That's even better. Your external environment is even more ready than I expected.
Yeah.
I guess on that note, since somewhat of our focused discussions need to be building about the synergy wheel team. I mean, right away, that sounds like potentially Lori should be on the synergy wheel team. Or do you think that it's better to have her as kind of an external client to what we're doing and work with her or yourself and not involve her in what we're trying to do here? Really, what we're trying to do here, remember, is to create a mastermind of people that are all harmoniously focused and aimed at helping you bring your thing fully into the world as a success.
Yes.
Do you think she should be part of the team? Do you think you should approach her about that?
Well, if she was going to be, it would be at the 2, coming in through the financial infrastructure resource kind of system where I've thought of her. And it kind of looks at that everybody is actually who's going to be on this hub might have like a team that is doing their thing, right? It's just they're connected to the mastermind, but each is like, how can, like the people, there was 2 people I thought ahead of her in terms of, because I'm looking more at the Inflow Matrix as a software system for this team. You took it a little bit higher than that. But I, in my mind, this is the software, Inflow Matrix software team. And that's maybe I should switch that.
Yeah, that's not right. No, this is not a workforce we're building here. It's got to be a mastermind that's the main focus of it is bringing your work to reality, to success, and that includes making all the software and stuff. But the people we're setting up here in a circle don't need to make that software ourselves. Instead, we're gonna, like, the whole focus is to make sure that happens, okay, along with the rest of it. Yeah, I think that's better. I think we're gonna get sidetracked. We're gonna get stuck in tech work and focusing too much on that if we take it down that level. Really, I think we do need to be on a higher level than that. That needs to be a piece of what's happening, and that we, as a full synergy team, along with other things, we also use our focus to make sure that happens and that happens correctly, and the right people are doing that, and there's whole teams or a team doing that, whatever. Yeah, I think it's important to stick with the overall focus right now.
Well, to me, here's just I mean, not to stick with it because that's what I had in mind it was, and to me, it has changed as a result of you seeing it maybe with more clarity, what you want it to be or what it should be. But I just, in my mind, I did think of it as Inflow Matrix software, and there was other teams for other things.
I think you're going to get into trouble with that. You need to be on the main team that overarches everything. You don't need to be on a tech team. You need to be on this team. Well,
to me, I guess I would make you on both just by being like the head sort of designer.
That's where I think our mastermind can come and help, because you can't be in all places at once, and eventually there's going to be more than one team working towards the software and other things, and you can't be on all of those teams. Instead, you can be, the Spock for the ship. There's 300 to 500 people or something that work on the enterprise. You can't micromanage them all. and you
True.
can't
I
run
don't
all the
want to.
groups, part of all those groups, and you shouldn't want to. No, I think
Yeah.
so. You need to be on the bridge team.
Okay. So we're building the ship.
Sure, yeah, there we are. We're building the ship before we can launch it. And then we're driving the ship.
Yeah, I want to say something. For me, yeah, what you're sharing now is bringing a little bit more clarity about like my purpose of being in the team and why I'm here. And yeah, it's like this, in a way, like committing to Elijah's commitment, that you have this commitment of this thing that you have created, this big thing that you have created, and being on your team for manifesting that, for creating that. And yeah, like I'm with Noah. I have some more questions about that I think they're gonna be opening up soon in the space. But yeah, I think what Noah is bringing up is like there's this is like kind of like the bigger team. From this team there's gonna be other teams that branch out to create like the different parts of it, like the technology, the software, the marketing, the connection with the community building, the other investors, other different teams. I'm not sure what the structure is like, and like the clarity that I have is like that I'm here in this team to to help this happen, like committing to that, these systems to be available for organizations, for communities, for people to use them to organize. Yeah, that's
Because
it.
I guess, because I had two people in mind, Dale Robinson and Keith Jesso. Keith, which we've already utilized a little bit, and Dale that I used to work with, who's very good with technology. And but he's also kind of busy with a lot of his own projects. I think Keith is between jobs right now. And I was thinking about more on the technical side of who to invite. And again, I was thinking more from Inflow Matrix. So I'm just telling you that my thinking was different, and I can shift it. I'll be in agreement with you guys.
You you, you mentioned there was a woman that wanted to meet, that you wanted to add to the team or something like that.
Yeah, how now? And
Yeah.
she's just moving to Hong Kong. I think she's going to be there for, I'm not sure how long. She's already agreed to the 3 hours. She wants to be in the position. I said stabilize in Hong Kong, and then because we got some time zone differences, right? Because she's in Hong Kong, so I don't know the best timing for us then. But yes, what she has is she wants to create a international women's healthcare system that's holistic. And she was going to do a pitch to the King of Dubai. She's put quite a lot of work with a team together. And something happened in terms of it didn't work out towards that, but they're still wanting to implement the vision. And so I saw her at 6, the diplomatic officer, which is also linked into health, and thinking that each person is going to be like Jorge's at education and your governance. I'm at science in terms of where we're branching out. But just she's very, you'll see. I mean, from a diplomatic point of view, she's got some huge gifts in terms of being able to read people, in terms of being able to be a very soft, loving, compassionate, warm, but wise person. And so she's, I would say, I guess the next she'd be the 6 of the 3, 6, and 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, and I guess, I was sort of jumping ahead of myself with more people, but I think as we add each person, then we sort of have to calibrate with that, and then we would maybe move on rather than all of a sudden jumping 10 people in here or something like that.
Yeah, one at a time is good. But really, we need to make sure that they calibrate to what we're doing. Otherwise, there's no point of them joining. Really, I really strongly think that, yeah, this mastermind synergy wheel group that we're building right now, starting with the 3 of us, that the main definite major purpose is to bring your work into life as a successful thing, fully, and that means, you know, software and beyond. And that, so that they need to agree that that's the purpose that we're meeting for, and the reason they're going to give 3 hours a week. They're giving it towards that. They're not giving it towards their own stuff or to collaborate with us in order to help each other do their own projects.
Right.
But on a personal level, also, everyone who joins, they must be positive minded. They must be at least, you know, good-hearted people that will, you know, that we can get along with, and so that we can be a harmonious team. Because harmony is the major factor of any mastermind group. If anyone becomes unharmonious to a point where disrupting or causing conflict within the group, that has to be rectified.
Yeah.
And so that's the main thing we need to worry about, or to not to worry about, but
agreed.
You know what I'm saying.
She has, like, she has put forward that she wanted to use the card sets for what her own to implement within her program, and she had, I know, agreed, but she was very interested in the Inflow Matrix as an operating system, so like to use the system for what she wanted to do. So that was one of the main reasons I was asking her, because I put this forward, I guess, as the inflow, but I think it wouldn't matter. I mean, I know she has been on mastermind teams, so she's already got them, and I was in one of her meetings once, and it was quite a nice group they had. But she definitely, I think, is a harmonizer type. So I mean, you'll see.
Right on. Well, yeah, I mean, she sounds awesome for sure. We'll wait till she's ready to do that.
I'm wondering if because I think at some point we might need to find that meeting time per week that works for everyone, that we can just, we know it's that time. Because I just see that, like, every week, if we have to figure out between the 4 or more of us to get the timing right, it's too much trouble to actually do that, rather than find something to agree upon and just stick to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think for now it's fine because there's only 3 of us. We could just talk about it. Later, when we add someone from Hong Kong, that will be different. It's like 6:30 in the morning there right now, so it'd be later in the end for you, and quite early for them probably. Obviously, I've had, and you've had, lots of experience with this with Lysiel and all of our meetings. So yeah, we'll figure that out. If nothing else, yeah, it's we can use that world time clock thing. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to have to be a requirement at some point for this group, is that we can all meet at the same time. So that may restrict in the end people from India, for example, or some part of the world where the time zone is just too far from yours, really, because yeah, you're going to have to be at these meetings, obviously. Otherwise, that's weird. I probably need to be at at least the central meetings, Jorge, you should be here too. And like, if at all possible, we should all be able to make these meetings for sure. And so, yeah, at some point we'll have to figure out what time zones we can't do, or adjust our time so that we can do them, whatever. But I don't think we're there yet. I mean, we don't even know who our 4th person is yet, or at least we don't have a 4th person yet. So we have time to work out the time. Yeah.
There's something I want to share. It's about like, if I see this as a game world, like this is a game world that is being developed and created. The idea that I've been getting about a game world is that a game world is alive. Like this thing that Elijah is creating, that you're originating, is an alive thing. It's something that's coming from something that's bigger than you to create this thing. And in a way, like the game world is given life by the people that participate in it and that collaborate into it. And what I'm seeing is that these people that are going to be joining the team, like there's going to be that piece that they're going to bring into the space. They're going to be that like uniqueness that they're going to bring into the space. And like we've been studying in our teams, like what is it that allows these spaces to become like a real space for human collaboration to happening. where like the maximum potential of our abilities are being used, and like we are in alignment with our purpose, that like, yeah, like I want to invest my life and my time into this game world. and and it's a lot to do for me with acknowledging that this game world is alive, that this is not like a thing, or like it's a thing that we can control and manipulate. It's like yeah, like just like a regular thing, but that is this thing that has its own life. Like right now, in between the three of us, there is like group intelligence. So in a way, like one person can be like the mind, the other person can be the arm, the hand, the other person can be the kidney, and like together we perform different operations in for the game world. So that's kind of the point of view, or the perspective that I've been gaining from studying more the game worlds, and what are these game worlds, and how do they move, how do they evolve, how do they transform, how do they become this mass of like that is really like intelligence, like organic intelligence of the people that collaborate into it. And there's also the things that kill it, and the things that can kill it, and things that can put it down, that can block energy or intelligence or resources from flowing. And yeah, I'm just bringing in that piece into the space, because in knowing that if this person is going to join our team, this woman or whoever is going to join our team, that she's going to be bringing something very special and very big. She's going to be like, whoop, like creating this next space and inhabiting this next space in this game world. So just wanted to acknowledge that. And I have a question too about like the name. So Planetary Guardians is the name of the group, the name of the game world, and there is also this thing called the Inflow Matrix. I want to like ask for clarification about like how do they fit with each other, like how do they relate to each other.
Well, like Planetary Guardians is kind of like the larger organizational framework.
Okay.
And like the real brand. The Inflow Matrix Operating System is the operating system that runs Planetary Guardians.
Okay.
And it's a mental structure and a software system. So it's the integration of online with offline, and then having conscious value systems being the real sort of conduits of intention as we sort of, connect online. The software is matching the mental construct. Like everyone's worldviews, like we have so many different worldviews or conceptual patterns in our minds, and it has absolutely no connection to the software. And software is how we're speaking to one another. Software is how we're like, this interface is it, right, for how humans are really communicating right now. And so the idea being that at some point we can, as a user, change the interface. That's where I think software is going in terms of being able to program your interface to look at the data, information, knowledge the way you want it. And that's the end game. Let's say these tools at some point is there's this holistic system that then you can, the interface is like focused on communication, learning, creativity, and healing. Those four at different levels, at the individual level, at the family level, at the organizational level, at the neighborhood level, at the community level, the watershed level, the planet level. Mm-hmm. And so it's a set, like the language structure becomes a set of interfaces, like the cards match the interfaces. So we're teaching people to use different conversation types, because like, let's say right now we're in a design specs conversation, right? Let's say I'm starting to give what I think it is. So it's essentially design specs. We might have a frame at the top. I could press a button and say design specs. But let's say it's an exploration. So design specs exploration, where it's not, I'm saying it's written in stone. I'm just sharing it, and it's open to you guys to share what you think it is. Because to me, I agree with what you said before in terms of each of us is going to be adding our piece to the puzzle. And it needs to be a shared creativity, a collaborative sort of methodology. And to me, one of the biggest things is when you can frame the conversation and say, okay, let's just say this is a design specs exploration, that actually says something to everybody here. Everyone here actually understands that's what it is. And let's say we jump out and I start telling a story about Uncle Jackie out back, and you can bring up your little sign, or everyone could go diversion, or you've left the conversation we agreed to, and now you're in your own world. And that's what happens, I think, between humans, right? You're either very good in business at sticking to the right conversations, or you just blah 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 blah, you have no idea. And so part of this whole thing is being very focused on what type of communication are we having here, what did we agree upon, and how to frame it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
That brought up a bunch of stuff for me. I just want to say too, yeah, I think that the people that are coming in, effectively, I think they're going to be channeling some of their energy and their focus on performing the role that they're taking on, as well as coming in with their own energy and their own skills and unique perspective and everything. And that's going to be what creates this team. And also, I was thinking, the way I see what you've constructed in a language mode is that the school of conscious communication is going to be training Planetary Guardians to use the Inflow Matrix Operating System to create shared knowledge communities and better their own lives. That's kind of how I understand the whole bunch of names you've got going on.
That's it, exactly.
And that ultimately that's going to be kind of what happens. That what we're doing right now is kind of like a different thing that's going to make all this happen, and also become a cog somewhere in the eventual model as well. But that we're also kind of inside outing it all, and we're trying to use the synergy wheel and the rest of the Inflow Matrix operating system going out from there in order to establish itself. We're creating the singularity in that context, maybe.
Yeah,
and I totally agree that the idea of framing a conversation is extremely powerful and important, and that has to be I think a big piece of how the training. I think at least that should be from what we're trying to do. That's going to be one of the first things that we're going to have to teach, or at least create a framework in order to use that, because that's how it works in companies and organizations already. They just don't really say it so specifically, but they say, okay, everyone, into the boardroom, we're going to discuss this marketing thing, or we're going to talk about that person who pooped in the floor, or whatever the hell it is. And they know going into that boardroom that this is the focus of the conversation, and that they know there's some facilitator, usually the CEO, president, supervisor, whatever it is, who's holding kind of the space and attempting hopefully to keep people on track, and that there's some sort of process that perhaps is different, because a lot of companies, they have the similar types of meetings all the time, like with the agile framework. There's like a whole system already, systems of particular types of meetings that you have, and they're always the same, and they're always supposed to have the same outcome, because it's that type of meeting. So designing a simple schematic, maybe not 1,000 different ones, maybe 10, and using these 10 strong ones in a progression, perhaps like with the missions, will be key, I think, in order to give that to the newest teams that we end up helping to create, that are going to do the software system, that are going to do this, do that, do this, and having them, being taught to use those particular things first, so they don't have to learn the entire operating system. They don't have to learn all of your cards, all the combinations, consider all of that. Instead, they know there's these 10 really powerful tools, or these 7 really powerful meetings that we can use, and that we're supposed to use in this progression, and that at some point that we can link that all together, so that we receive, or the team, our team, whoever's on our team, I guess, receives specific information about their progress and everything. Because at some point, if you're going to have 12 teams of 12, right, and us as some kind of central team that's trying to set it up, that's too much to micromanage already. It's just beyond the point of those too many relationships thing, where you have like more than 150 relationships, you start to lose track.
For sure.
So,
Well, then I think I don't know about you know about this, Jorge, but Nova and I went on a 1 year, almost a year long program put together by Luciel, and I was on the design side and he was on the receiving side. So we both got insight into it, and their main structure had 144 people, 12 teams of 12, going through a 1 year training program. So we both experienced, you know, the pros and the cons to a lot of, let's say, a weekly meeting between people that are trying to change the world, kind of like what we're doing here, right? And then looking to see how can we train it or bring it into these other teams. And so I think Nova's bringing up a hugely important point in terms of, you know, again, what can we actually do ourselves, and how do we leverage things so that it spreads in a way that is manageable and, you know, is fun rather than, you know, tedious because it's so much work.
yeah, and on that point, I've had time to consider our experience in that group, and I think really they had two really good things, but they were lacking the third thing. And me and Elijah attempted to jump in and provide it for them as well, but that fell apart as well. But I think what they had is the right people. They had a really good training program where it took people, I think at least, took people through kind of personal growth, group development, and community development. But unfortunately, the third component that they lacked was a clear system of organization, like of how the people were supposed to organize. Because it really started to fall apart beyond the individual level. The individual level was great for a lot of people. They did a lot of inner work. There was all these great resources. Elijah was providing some of them, and 2 or 3 other people, but it allowed people to work on their shadows, to kind of diagnose themselves in different personality ways and really think about things on a deeper level and do some meditation and all this kind of stuff. There was many different aspects that they could take advantage of, and I thought it was quite strong. And my whole team thought it was great the whole time, pretty much. You know, some of it we didn't use, some of it we did, some different people use different things, but overall, it was very positively received. And then we went on to the group one, which was supposed to create group coherence between the 12 people on each of these teams so that each of their groups became more intermeshed and more harmonized. And that sort of worked. I think it was kind of like half working from at least the perspective of my group. And from the things we're hearing from the other groups, it was like they're kind of hit and miss a little bit with that one. And then when it became to the community level, where the idea was to integrate all 144 people and then also intertwine all 12 groups, to me, that was a complete failure from the start. It never even happened. It never worked. There was no conceivable way that they followed to actually do that. It was just an idea that had no structure. And I think that the lack of the inflow matrix or some sort of system to be able to use to throughout the process was the missing piece that they lacked, and that's why it all, in my opinion, fell apart and didn't accomplish anything in the end. And yeah,
Cool. Yeah, what's coming up when you're sharing this is like I have the question: did this group of people get an X in the map of where they are in their responsibility level? Being like there is a different levels of responsibility. Like what I'm hearing is like responsibility in this form of organizing. Because when you're taking ownership for the responsibility of, for example, my participation in this team, like am I taking ownership for what is next, what is for me to do here, then it's almost like I am I'm responsible for this thing. And there is different levels of responsibility. Like, for example, you can have like zero responsibility. Like you just don't care about anything, about any results, about any mess that you make. You just like do whatever you want, and you don't give a shit about the mess that you make. There is child level responsibility, which is very similar to that. Which is like the child is like depending on an adult to clean up their mess for them. Something like they play with the toys, and then they like the parents have to pick it up, and there's a training that starts happening about like how the children starts coming into more responsibility. There is like adult level responsibility where you take care of your own messes, like you make a meal and then you clean the kitchen afterwards. And there is like even like higher levels of responsibility. It's like radical responsibility, high level responsibility, and radical responsibility. And in those, like the ultimate level is like every mess is your mess. So I mean, like every space that you're in, you're responsible for. And there is like no sense of fairness and unfairness. It's not like about fairness, like this is fair, this is unfair. It's like if I'm here, I'm taking responsibility for being here, and that's it, like the highest level responsibility. And so inside of these teams that like for example, if you're coaching or you're working with a village, an eco village, you gotta like find what is their level of responsibility that they want to work in and that they are in. And you do this by asking each one of the members, like, what level of responsibility are you in, or what level of responsibility do you want to operate in? Child level responsibility, adult level responsibility, high level responsibility, or radical responsibility. And then you can get a sense of where they are there, because it changes a lot. Like the context completely changes of like what are we doing here, like who's going to clean up this mess, how are we organizing. And in radical responsibility, there is no higher authority. It's not like you're going to be delegating to, it's not like, for example, like Elijah is the originator of this, so he's going to tell me what to do. It's like I'm here and I'm like, we're equal, and we see like, okay, I see what you're creating, and I this is what I'm here to create, or this is what I see lacking in this game, or what I'm here to bring to this game.
Mm.
I don't know if that, yeah. So this is like, yeah, that level of responsibility can like give a hint about like, because if you have a child level responsibility, a person that said like, I only want to create and somebody else to clean it up, then even if you have like these structures, this inflow matrix and all these things, that is not like, they could drop it off at any time, something like that.
I think that's a great point. That brings in reality. All these structures are mental structures, but the reality of life is what you just brought in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's some of the research I've been doing and reading and thinking about is about leadership as well, of course, because it's hand in hand with success in a lot of ways, at least leadership of your own life, if nothing else. But one of the biggest points of leadership is that people will follow your lead, right? So yeah, if we adopt whatever the highest one is you're talking about, that radical responsibility or the responsibility of a wise elder would take, or something like that, then at the very least, we can, I think, rest assured that the people in the next groups below or beside us, or whatever you want to say, should adopt at least that or one level lower. Otherwise, it's not going to work, and so on. And perhaps, 5 levels out, yeah, we could have children kind of playing with the system and forgetting to really do anything or whatever. But to have, I think, for our group, we really need to make sure that each of us is willing to adopt the highest level of responsibility for the roles that we're taking on, and that I think that's got to be, yeah, something that each of us in our group of 12 people in the end is gonna, or 10 people in the end is gonna have to really take on.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my feeling, and that's what I'm trying to do, yeah, for my role in whatever that becomes.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't know when, at some point what was that team? You said there needs to be a team that is going to overarch everything because of all these different projects. You came up with the meta team, and this is what it is. You managed to trump all the systems, which is,
well, I mean,
because just like I have 5 major projects, right? I have at the personal space, it's the Inflow Matrix. At the one-on-one is the New Paradigm Toolkit. At community space, it's Planetary Guardians. At group space, it's School of Conscious Communication. And in the center is Sacred Space, the Very Secret Plan. So that's my, at 2.5 products, those are my major business products. So that's my reference point to look at when you're saying it needs to be something above that. What you just did is put it above that.
okay.
And so I'm going, okay,
Yeah,
this is
I
the
suppose that's true.
universe.
I mean, yeah, if those are the products or the things that are you're trying to create from your work and like through your work, then yes, our team has to be focused on creating those 5 things, and therefore must be above or beside or away from them or whatever, apart from them, however you want to say it. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
if you look
yeah.
at the synergy team again, I guess I got to show you because it's better to show. At 3.5, these are the products. So if you're here, right down at creativity, creativity breaks down into 5, and it breaks down into gifts and products at the flow level, the next level down. Right? Like the level below down here as product. So that's where, of the system, that's where your products go. And so the 5, I just told you the 5 products that if it's my work, that's my work. And so it's like using the system to show the system. I mean, the system has to work for me, but it has to work for you. It has to work for anyone. Your 5 are going to be very different in your life, where this is one piece of your 5. We may be coming together at the community space in Planetary Guardians. You know, we may go, you may go, okay, this is it. It's like what I found out with you, Jorge, when you were talking about the village. Afterwards, when I was really looking at it, I was going, you know, that community space, that's Planetary Guardians to me. It's like they've taken over the community space. We need to take it back. And that's what like by everyone saying I'm a Planetary Guardian, that's the sort of like behind the reason why. It's like we need to
Yeah,
have
that's the way I see it as well. Yeah, I see Planetary Guardians as the community that we're trying to create, and then we're part of it, and all the people that will help guard the planet are part of it.
Yeah. Like they exist out there, we just haven't been organized yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the Illuminati.
The what?
The Illuminati. Most people are not, because it's an esoteric thing. So most people now have heard about the Illuminati, right?
Right.
The idea of this centralized power system of where all the power of the world for centuries has been focused, and it is kind of at the heart of the dark heart of everything that's dark on our planet. Right? It's this pyramid system where there's this little pyramid on top that rises above it all, and that's how they built their power system. And this is the Illuminati, whether it's an actual organization or not. People call it the Illuminati, right? The Illuminati is the exact opposite. It is an upside down inverted pyramid that actually overlaps that pyramid and creating the star, the 6-pointed star. The Illuminati system has been around for a long time, and it's just beginning to disintegrate. We're at that stage now, and the Illuminati upside down pyramid is just becoming integrated. It's just beginning to integrate, and instead of they're the exact opposites. They're equal and opposites. So the Illuminati structure system is there's these families, whether it's 13 families or whatever. There's these families that have concentrated their power and their wealth for a long time and made friends with people selectively and other families, and they've all concentrated their wealth and their power together in order to maintain and create this system for a long time now. And that they've done that through the legal system and the monetary system and all the other systems that they've basically pioneered. So they all know each other, or at least at some level, and there's a very strict hierarchical level, right? Strict hierarchical system that's like the embodiment of what they are is the hierarchy. That's also the system that they embodied and basically brought into the world in order to do all of this is the hierarchy system. The idea of a hierarchy, period, is theirs, or they've embodied that and become that and embraced it. Whereas the Illuminati, is the opposite of all of that, the equal and opposite, where it's none of us know each other at all. We've never met each other. We don't even know each other exists. We hardly even know we exist in this type of embodiment of an inverted pyramid reverse Illuminati system. And that our upside down pyramid, just like there's all the power is concentrated at the top, right? All of our power is concentrated on the top as well, but our top is upside down. Our top is the base. And it is, while they built theirs from the top down, we're building ours from the bottom up, still with a few select amount of people that are awakening to this new embodiment, this new energy, this new system of organization for humans, basically. And that we're beginning to populate and create this thing naturally without even our knowing it. And that, you know, by the end of it, it will have basically, by the time it's fully created, this other one is going to be fully disintegrated. And that this is the process that we're in currently, and that's what the Silver Age is all about. So anyway, what I'm saying is, on your point, yeah, Planetary Guardians is that, like, our vision of Planetary Guardians is that. It's another word for that. And whether we all know each other one day, or whether we're all connected within one system or not, we're all working with that energy towards a better world. And that is how I view Planetary Guardians as a name. And that the community that I'm you know, consciously at this point participating in and wanting to build is the Illuminati system that is needed and inevitable.
But I think
anyway, there's a whole bunch of series of diagrams and wisdom behind that I can show you one day.
I mean, one thing about the inflow matrix as a structure is that I think its most important thing is being able to integrate with all the other models, being able to sort of see where something fits and take in the best practices and sort of like not throw things out because it's not fitting, like it's not whatever. I mean, it's every individual is going to take their best practice at some point, but we're creating this kind of common reference structure that then you can just put your knowledge, put whatever it is from any other worldview or any other practice, any other anything, in my opinion, because we're looking at how do we build our internal knowledge structure, and as space to the body, time is to the mind. So when you have a cyclical mental structure that brings in together levels of consciousness, those are the two big things that I think are necessary now. And then everything else is hopefully going to fit in. And that to me is the exciting part. That's the fun part for me, is just seeing how things fit. Like the medicine wheel can fit right in the present moment, right? You just take that model, pop it in there, and all of a sudden you've got a doorway into another worldview, and all the beauty and goodness and truth that worldview has to offer. You know, so I would say every other group is like the ally. Every other group that's heading towards a good direction is an ally. And we should be providing the tools to unite people. We should be providing the tools to help everyone achieve what they want to achieve.
Yep, that's what I see. Yeah.
Well, there is something that comes up for me as we're here in these doorways, and it's like the guardians, the planetary guardians, is one of the 4 different archetypes. There is like, it comes into like the warrior. Is the warrior that protects, is the guardian that protects the planet. And inside of the other archetypes, like there is a king, there is the lover, and there is the wizard. So they're like kind of like those 4 different archetypes. They work synergetically, and they actually use different forces, different resources. They use resources in a different way. Cool. And and the other thing that's coming up from this is like I want to see, or like I see the necessity for me to have a card set with the feelings, like feelings card set, like and where I have the 4 core feelings, the 4 primary feelings: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. And then like the mix of feelings, like what happens, like jealousy, envy, greed, blaming, guilt, like all of these different mixes, and will, yeah, like as a way to like have a doorway opening into what's happening inside, like really in the core of our being. See, it's so powerful. Like this work that I've been doing with the feelings is so powerful to distinguish what it feels like, my anger and my sadness. Like the difference between those two is massive, and to have like that distinction for planetary guardians and for the people that are going to be working on this is massive. Like for woman and man, like for man, this is a great news that there is only 4 primary feelings, because it doesn't make it like this like whole complicated thing. It's like this is really, really basic, and our feelings are
What were the two?
resources.
Sorry. Oh,
Go ahead.
could you just repeat what were the 2 positive ones?
There is
Or what
like
were the four emotions?
yeah, there is 4 feelings, 4 primary feelings. So like anger, sadness, fear, and joy. And it's
Only
just
one of
like,
those is positive.
so we like, I don't work anymore with like that. There is positive feelings and negative feelings. It's like and that's the mental map. That's the original map, that only joy is the positive. But actually, like, we work with the feelings as if they're neutral, completely, absolutely neutral information and energy. And it's actually a resource that's running through our body that we can learn to use, to utilize, to create more authentic relating, and really like empowering like all of our being to be alive. So yeah, like, yeah, there is like a whole map, like a delivery of that map, of the old map of feelings and the new map of feelings, where in the old map we think that feelings are good or feelings are bad or positive or negative, and in this new map is like they're completely neutral, and we are feeling all of these feelings all at the same time at different percentage levels. So at all times I'm feeling like a certain percentage of anger and a certain percentage of fear and sadness and joy. And that through doing experiments, you can get to distinguish what each one of them feels like. And yeah, and then there is the next layer of it. It's like mixing of feelings or mixing of emotions. When you mix sadness and anger, for example, you get a mixture, and it's a mixture that has a specific taste and sensation and color, and you get stuff like depression out of it. When you mix anger and sadness, they're mixed, so the energy and information is interlocked, and it's not until you separate them that you can actually get to the bottom of it. So the experiments that I'm been practicing, they diffuse depression. Like, you can like do these practices with your rage that really get you to get the anger part of it and the sadness part of it separately, so that you can move on past those things. It's really powerful. And I just have a short time here to share, and there's so much more that I've been experimenting with that. Yeah.
How's our timing?
Say
Yeah, I could probably commit another 15 minutes for this meeting.
I have another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we
yeah,
want to use that time?
I'd like to share with you a couple notions that I have in the book here that I thought I did turn to a random page, but I think they're pointing to right now.
all action is driven by what we value. People that share values can share many things. Actions
For anyone who's watching, that's from A Small Book of Notions by Elijah Ignatius.
Jorge, I'm going to send you that book. I've got some extras. So if you have a mailing address, I'll send you one.
Okay, cool. I'll send you the address.
Okay. 200 copies were printed, and it was going to be part of my. I always tend to give things away. I'm supposed to sell them, but I'm horrible I like giving.
I think in the future that will work very well for you. We're right at that. We're close to that turning point in the world where it's going to be better to do the other thing anyway. Always. Yeah, it's just we're kind of right on the cusp of that. I think right now.
I mean, it's
a gifting economy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more preferable, it's
I made my own. I'll show you. It's related.
Okay, I also have a question that I hope I wanted to bring to this meeting.
What's that?
Mhm.
What's the question?
It's about learning about this role inside of the synergy wheel, about learning, and I wanted to know like what is it. And yeah, I didn't want to take, because Nova was gonna bring up something, but yeah, like my question is like what
Mhm.
yeah, what is the development that you see happening? What is happening? I want to know what's happening in the others wheels, to know what is it that I could bring to this learning role inside of the synergy wheel.
Nova, you had something you were bringing up, or
That is much more important. Let's use the rest of the meeting to talk about that.
Cool.
like there's the primary triad, right? The Nova captain, you're the learning officer, and let's say Hanal is the diplomatic officer, or somebody's going to be there. So it's the 3, 6, and 9. And then let's say I'm the communication officer. Let's say for now I'm the communication officer in the center.
In the center.
In the center. So that creates a tetrahedron, right? That takes 4 people and creates your first platonic solid. So the idea of 4 is that you're creating this tetrahedron that energetically is good. And so you, from the point of view of you're looking more at the inner of the system, and then the diplomatic officer is looking outside the system. They're looking through the relationships of everybody, and you're looking through the jobs of everybody. And then the captain is looking at the agreements. What are the agreements between the jobs and the relationships and everybody to actually create your business enterprise? Because at some point, it's just a series of agreements between people, right? And there's people on the inside, there's people on the outside. So from your point of view of learning and training, you're looking at everybody on the ship, and you're assigning the jobs. You're like Commander Riker, and Nova's Picard, and Riker is just, and Picard is just, okay, we're heading to planet X47. It's going to be 2 weeks, and you've got to come up with the duty rosters. You got to come up with organizing basically all of the jobs on the ship, and making sure that they're trained, and making sure they know how to do it, and making sure that they are sort of reaching their potential within that place.
And when you're saying you, it's like, are you talking about like me in specific, or the person in learning?
I'm talking about you. Well, I'm
Okay.
talking about whoever's the first officer. I mean, if we're using Star Trek as a metaphor.
And Elijah, I invite you to also just talk a little bit about how the learning role plays out when we're talking about this one mastermind group that's going to end up creating all the other group, because he's not responsible for all the jobs on the ship for sure.
Okay. So I imagine as we add people on, that depending on how long it takes, everyone's got to kind of come up to speed a bit on the thinking structures. Like what are we using as a reference point? We're using the synergy wheel. At some point we're going to create a value system. At some point we're going to, add little maps on pieces of the puzzle. And just like every one of us has a different time cycle that we're focusing through. So the diplomatic officer is focusing through the hour, through relationships. You're focusing through job and the lunar cycle. And then Nova is focusing on direction and agreement through timelessness. He's at the crown shot. He's above us in a sense, sort of seeing, the higher direction for the team to go, because he's in timelessness. You're in the lunar, diplomatics in the hour. So those time cycles play out because basically every member of the team is seeing whatever's going on through a different time cycle. That's their primary. So when we bring all the time cycles together, we're experiencing everything in terms of like all the angles, in a sense. Like me as a science officer, I'm looking lifetime. I'm looking, 7 generations. I'm looking, what's going to be happening. But on the map, I can also see it at 7. The 1 can on the Enneagram looks at the 7. So the lifetime is looking at the person who's navigating, and Spock is saying, turn right, watch out for the meteor. oh, those guys could kill us. The captain's saying, we got to get this way. And you're sort of making sure that the crew is, the team, let's say it's just one team on a bridge, is you're kind of like the go-to backup. Like you're the number two. If the captain doesn't see something, you got to help him. If the captain tells you to do something, or the team, you got to make sure it gets done. But that's, again, operating more like a Star Trek metaphor team, when I think that the synergy wheel or can be very different in different contexts. Like very different if you're just looking, okay, we're in a school, or we're just, this is a mastermind. The mastermind's point of view, to me, again, it would go, you're helping the other people learn the system. And them create their ideal job. Because one of the main things here is that everyone gets to create their ideal job. You put your schedule, and that job fundamentally goes down to that lunar schedule. And then the 5 spaces is, they're designing their job based upon these 5 spaces now. When are you gonna have one-on-one time? When are you gonna have community time? When's your time? And when's the team time? When's your sacred time? And that alone, as you know, is hugely transformative to look at time that way.
And I think also it's important to note, so bouncing off something you said, that this synergy wheel and also the mastermind that we're creating is not hierarchical, and that we're all actually on the same team and have equal whatever power, influence, decision making, say, whatever. Yeah, because I don't think it's going to work if we think of it as like I'm in the captain's seat and I'm telling people what to do. Like that's,
yeah.
I think as far as enacting my role, I see it differently. Anyway,
Yeah.
not to circumvent what you just said.
Well,
Well, Lance.
I think it's very contextually different. I mean, there's going to be so many different uses, so many different people, so everything's going to change. But the idea is this: you can be in a different position. I think it's more functional in terms of, like, again, if you're looking through timelessness and he's looking through the lunar cycle, and we're talking about anything, you're just, your perspective is going to be very different. And I think what the captain is doing is sort of making sure the team, because you've done it several times here, is making sure the team is sticking to what it's supposed to be. And at the beginning, you've said this, like, this is the overarching team for everything. That's different than if we're just going to mastermind once a week and talk about our financial goals.
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. My role is, I'm not ordering people to do things. I'm just trying to establish and maintain the energy and the system that we're trying to create. That I'm trying to steward in the moment at all times, I suppose. Anyway, Jorge, I know you got to go. Does that answer your question, or do you need to?
Yeah.
I think I should talk more about that next time.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
I'm not really understanding exactly what your role is myself. But I know that
thanks for asking the question, and thanks, guys, for just being here. I mean, this is huge for me, and it is life-changing for me, because I feel the support of the team. I feel like I could, by myself, I can't do this, and I don't want to do it. And so until a team forms and wants to be there based on their own interest, it just doesn't happen,
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
I really gotta go pee.
Okay, you go. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I love you.
Bye.